Hello, I wanted to issue another response to Inanna. She is what I call a reality inverter. She is contradicting and inverting objective reality, and this reveals delusion in her. She claims that people are inverts, but she's doing the same thing. So she is a victim. I'll get more into that in a moment. I think she is now claiming that Mike Tyson is a female, and I don't know if it could be any more obvious that this woman is delusional and that Mike Tyson is a male. And I think something else is going on, something much more serious with Inanna. I want her to give support for her claim. Cite me a professional anatomist, biologist, scientist, or medical doctor who agrees with her based on the evidence she has that Tyson is a female. See, she doesn't have any peer review. She has no scientific support for her claims. She's just giving her propagandistic conspiracy theory, no evidence. What she calls biomarkers, to the best of my knowledge, is completely contrived. You know, who was the doctor that did surgery on Mike Tyson, assuming there was a doctor? So when she says that she's trained people in transvestigation, she's just appealing to unqualified authority. There's no peer review, there's no scientific or medical support for her claims. It is pure delusion. When she says that all women on pornographic websites are men, that is a major conspiracy theory. And this is the way she thinks because she's being programmed to think like this. I'll get more into that in a moment. I want to know how much time she's actually spent on these pornographic websites. Has she seen every single woman on a pornographic website and was able to objectively determine that they're all male? No, she's just giving this sweeping conspiracy theory. And a lot of people don't realize that conspiracy theory is actually a logical fallacy. It's called canceling hypothesis. Conspiracy theorists tend to overlook the high degree of improbability in large-scale conspiracies. So, or large-scale conspiracy theories. So it is a fallacy. That doesn't mean all conspiracy theories are untrue. Several have been proven to be true, but it is nevertheless a fallacy to invoke a conspiracy theory. Absolutely no evidence for her claim. How much time has she spent? Has she seen all their body parts? See, and with regard to Tyson and Donald Trump even, this is a delusion. This woman is deluded, but she doesn't realize that she's deluded. I want to direct your attention to a video. The link is in the description. This man talks about how people are being programmed and conditioned on social media to embrace error. They are being manipulated, given false information, leading to false perceptions of reality. And I would argue that Inanna is a victim of this. The social media, the internet, is feeding her delusion. She may have gotten all her ideas from this false and bad information on the internet. She is a reality inverter, what I call a reality inverter. She is a victim of the problem that she claims to expose. She doesn't realize this. She doesn't realize how much she's being controlled and manipulated to falsely perceive reality. So see the video linked in the description. She claims that Jesus is an Essene. She is not a scholar on this topic. I'm not either, but I know some things. There's no evidence, no good evidence that Jesus was an Essene. Dr. Gary Habermas wrote a section on this in his book, The Historical Jesus. I link to it in the description. Scroll down and read the relevant section on Jesus allegedly being an Essene. And there's absolutely no evidence from the primary sources that we have on the life of Christ, namely Scripture, that Jesus was an Essene or a vegan. There's no evidence that he endorse veganism. This comes from later material, and this material doesn't come from eyewitnesses of Christ or people who knew the eyewitnesses. We know from the primary sources, the New Testament, that Jesus ate the Passover meal, which had a lamb. He ate that meal with the disciples. He ate fish. And in the Old Testament, God allowed the eating of meat and drinking of milk. He called the promised land the land flowing with milk and honey, and he wasn't talking about soy milk. So Inanna is caught up in legalism. She doesn't understand the gospel. She has a false Jesus. The Essene Jesus is not the Jesus of Scripture. It's later material, and it's just absolutely false and absolutely ridiculous. Animals have no rights. They were put here to serve man. They are here for our purpose, just to serve human beings. Okay, and it's like she strains at gnats but swallows camels. She strains at all these details about animals and veganism, but she swallows camels in terms of flaunting her body to the public. Christ taught us to purify our hearts. He said it's not important, something to the effect that it doesn't matter what goes in the body, but what comes out. So what's coming out of her is bad. With regard to the golden age, this is a grandiose delusion by a powerless person. This is not going to happen. This is a real delusion. This woman has delusions. Okay? There's not going to be a golden age. She is powerless to enforce this. With regard to the Apostle Paul, she calls him the corrupter of Christianity. This is propaganda. The best evidence does not support it. We know from St. Paul's epistle to the Galatians, and Galatians, by the way, is considered genuinely Pauline, meaning critical scholars who are not even Christians believe that the Apostle Paul actually wrote it. We see that in Galatians, the Apostle Paul says that he met Peter, James, and John. He went to Jerusalem and met them. They gave him the right hand of fellowship. And how do we know the Apostle Paul didn't make this up? Because we have corroboration in Clement of Rome. He was a disciple of the Apostle Peter, and in his epistle to Corinth, he certified Paul's teaching. Okay, Polycarp was a disciple of the Apostle John. He certified the Apostle Paul's teaching in his epistle to the Philippians. Okay, so these are extra biblical sources, disciples of apostles corroborating, certifying the Apostle Paul. Okay, so when you hear from the Apostle Paul, you're hearing from the Jerusalem apostles. There's no evidence that Paul corrupted Christianity. He has these certifications from Peter, James, John, Clement of Rome, and Polycarp. And also in the canonical epistle of, I think it's 2 Peter, it says, it calls Paul a brother and refers to his writings as scripture. I'll give information below in the description. And if I have to make any corrections, I will do so in the description. So this person, Inanna, is suffering from delusions. She is contradicting factual information that objective reality is telling us. These are called delusions, not illusions. There's a difference between a delusion and an illusion. She is delusional, and I believe she's being manipulated and controlled by a third party on the internet, giving her bad information, propaganda, conspiracy theories, and these are just pure delusions. And like I said, if I have to make any corrections, I'll do so in the description. I believe she thinks Mike Tyson is a woman. If I'm mistaken, I apologize, and I'll just direct your attention to the description, and I'll conclude the video now.